Hey everybody, this is Ghost Moments. Welcome back to episode 5 of my solo Skyblock series. In the last episode, we built this beautiful double stairway leading up to our Nether Portal, and I vowed to take our first trip there in this episode. As luck would have it though, I encountered way more problems in the Nether than I planned, and the journey was less entertaining and more of a jumbled mess of embarrassing setbacks. So, I thought I'd walk you through a highlight reel of those events before we continue on with today's adventures. I headed into the Nether with a positive attitude and a few stacks of cobblestone slabs to make my way across the endless Nether void in search of another fortress. This version of Skyblock has a helpful sign placed at the edge of our platform, which I correctly guessed would point us in the right direction. Eventually I saw the fortress tower looming in the distance and began to bridge my way over to it. Before long, I was spotted by blazes and started a little shoot and scoot routine to advance myself forward without getting shot off my bridge. As I got closer, more and more monsters started to appear, and it was hard to get a decent shot on the blazes. I accidentally hit a few pigmen, causing them to hilariously rage jump off the end of the tower. I figured my safest bet was to build a stairway up to the top of the tower, which could also shield me from the blazes' line of fire. Once I got to the top of the tower though, I had no idea how to get in without being completely destroyed by the massive amount of mobs spawning inside. So I dug a little bit at a time, engaging with the enemy now and then and hastily building myself little structures to hide inside of and behind. That's when I got flustered and more or less jumped right into a room filled with mobs. I died almost immediately, and after respawning and coming back to pick up all of my gear, I died again. I was pretty much on tilt at this point, but was determined to get as much of the Nether loot as I could before giving up completely. Tunneling seemed to work pretty well, but I almost died several more times before I finally decided to cut my losses and get the heck out of there. I won't be going back to the Nether anytime soon, at least not until I have better armor and a better plan. But the journey at least yielded me some new resources, including some glowstone, nether wart, soul sand, and even my very first wither skeleton head. So at least it wasn't a total loss. Alright, well in the rest of today's episode, I want to show you a few things I've built off camera, and then get right into our big build of the day, which is going to be a legit mob grinder. Very excited. One of the things that we were missing from our platform up here was a location for our infinite water source. So, behind our base here, I built ourselves a little fishing pond, which can serve as both a nice place to fish and an infinite water source. In the next episode, I'm probably going to expand in this direction and build some farming area and a place to house our pigs and sheep and cows, etc. And then I have a plan to also go out to the outer islands and secure some saplings of each one of these other trees. But as I said before, we are going to build ourselves a legit mob grinder today because it's desperately needed. Now, our darkroom has served us well so far, but it has some pretty serious flaws that need to be remedied. The main one is that it just takes too long to get all of these mobs. Well, this is a bad example because there's only a few in here, but it takes way too long to get these mobs and too many stone swords. I've probably gone through at least 100 stone swords just in these episodes so far. So what we're going to do, let's get rid of these guys first. So what I've gone ahead and done is I dug underneath our base, poured out some lava into a single stream, then some water to make a large cobblestone center column that will serve as the center point for our mob grinder. Now this is a traditional mob grinder, you've probably seen it 100 times before, Essentially what's going to happen is 23 blocks high, we're going to create a very large dark room area that's going to have 4 water streams that flow towards the center. The mobs that spawn up in that dark area will flow towards the center, fall down our column here to our killing floor. They'll be on a very low health at that point, where we should be able to hit them with one hit of our fist or sword and get their drops. So without delay, let's go ahead and get into our time lapse where we can get this mob grinder all completed. Welcome back, everybody. I have built the most overproductive mob grinder ever. Well, at least for me. So it turned out pretty nice. I like the way it looks, and it wasn't too difficult to build. But near the end, if you noticed, I must have miscalculated the height of our fall because all the mobs were falling to their death. So we raised the platform up by a few levels so that when they fall, they're on their lowest amount of health, and we can hit them with one hit and be done. Now, the only thing I didn't think about was how productive this thing could actually be. Look at all of the mobs that are spawning here, and I have to be careful not to get too close because a creeper actually did blow up this very easily before. Looks like I'm getting some thorns there. But it is an unbelievable amount of XP and mobs that are being dropped. You can even see I'm getting some records from apparently some creeper and skeleton fights inside of this platform. But it is so many drops and so much XP that I can't even catch up. Now you'll notice right here in this footage is where I apparently made eye contact with an Enderman. He races over to me, does damage. I try to get my sword out, but it's not in the right place in my hotbar. Then the sword breaks on the Enderman, and before I can think what to do next, I know I'm doomed. And did you hear that witch laugh at me in the background? How embarrassing. But it's okay, because we get so much XP from this farm, I was able to get right back up to 20 levels in no time at all. Well guys, that's going to be it for today's episode. We built our massive mob grinder, and it is definitely legit, maybe even too legit. I'm not going to go there. But hey, look at these Endermen just staring at me. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like and subscribe if you like my other videos. In our next episode, we've got lots of great things planned, but off camera, we're probably going to do a few things to this farm right here just to make it a little bit more safe. Until then, I'm Ghost Moments, and thanks for watching.